Hey, Elite family. I'm here to talk to you about three things. I started this last week. Three things that I did in practice that we teach in Elite clients that helps get 90%, that helps get 30 to 50% growth in 90 days. Three things that I did years ago that added 100 people a day. It took me from 120 a day to 220 a day in 5 months without marketing. Doesn't matter what the number is, the bottom line is you can go, you do these three things, you can go to any level you want, and you don't have to spend 1 second out of your office marketing. Hey Chad, how's it going? Good afternoon, man. So these three things. So the first one was I went from a 2-day to a 3-day system. Hey, for 11 years, I used to do everything on day 2. Man, you give them their condition, then you give them time, then you get money. And then here's what I learned after I started studying human behavior. About 30% or so people, they're process people. That means they take a while to make decisions. They won't sit there and make a decision on day 2, but what they are going to do is they're going to start care. Now, I'm not talking about how many or what percentage do you get start care. I'm talking about a lifestyle mindset PVA that's 60 to 90 or above. So I get calls all the time. Hey, we start 9 out of 10. Great. And I'm sure you're great. That tends to be, the problem is it tends to be personality dependent. And even if you have a 40 PVA or greater, it's probably personality dependent. And so what I found is I could get a 40 PVA doing a 2-day. And then I learned that if I can just give them a little bit of time and a little bit of money, number one, you handle the process people. Number two, you want them buying their condition. But yet we take their condition and then what do we finish with? Time and then finally money. So they forget about their condition. So if we give them a little bit of time and a little bit of money and then we get them to a workshop. Now that's the key, is the workshop. One reason people don't buy is they don't know what they're buying. So think about it on day 2. You bring them in day 1, day 2. They have a certain belief system. You want them to change the way they live their whole life, bring their family, start their wife, and do all that. And can you do that? No question. But on what percentage? See, what I'm talking about now is not about how to be successful. Because on a 2-day system, I could see 500 a week. Okay, my goal is 1,000, so it doesn't matter what the goal is. It matters where are you in your practice. And if you're hitting a ceiling or you have less than a 60 to a 90 PVA and you're doing a 2-day system, this could be the reason why. So if you give them their condition, you give them a little bit of time, a little bit of money so they really don't have to think about it, and then you give them a workshop. Now they know what they're buying. Now you create experience. Now you have a couple of adjustments that they can actually start responding well. You're training them about lifestyle. You're training them about their organs. You're training them about health. And you're wiring this into them. Now here's the difference. I could still hit 500 a week on a 2-day system. And some people say, well, I don't even want to see that, so I can do a 2-day system. Here was the difference. At 500 a week, I went from 30% prepay. When I did a 3-day, I had 70% prepay. So if you have 7 out of 10 prepaying you, and this is only after 1 year of communication training, right? Not 23 years. If we go to 70%, what's going to be their commitment level? So automatically your PVA is going up because I was recommending more than 40 visits at that time. I mean, we were about 60 to 80 visits at that time. So automatically 70% are paying for 60 to 80 visits. Your PVA is already going to double. Not to mention re-signs. Now, in that time, I had them go to more workshops, but that's step 2. We'll talk about it. Now, here's the difference. You get a spouse to the workshop in the beginning. Not only is the spouse going to support them, but the spouse and the family becomes a patient. So once I did that, number one, when I gave it all on day 2, I couldn't get as many people to the workshop. But when they had to go to the workshop to be accepted as a patient, as part of the requirement, because my day 1, day 2 was so strong, and that was part of the requirement to being accepted as a patient, and they had to bring their spouse because the day 1, day 2 was so strong, I would get spouse, I would get 8 out of 10 to the very next workshop, and probably another one to a couple weeks, and then one wouldn't go, but we didn't accept them anyway. So we'd still get 9 out of 10 to the workshop, and ultimately you get a commitment level for way more. Not only that, that's how you turn 1 into 3. Then we would get 1 into 3, and now we have a commitment. So, and then once we promoted the workshop, now the thing is, I would get patients that would come in, guests that would come in, and because they went to the workshop first, day 1, day 2 went really fast. So because it was already in there, now we promoted the workshop. So the key was, and everybody knows this, the patients that go to a workshop tend to be more committed patients. You guys know this. Everybody knows this. Now the thing is, when I went from a day 2, giving everything on day 2, to a day 3, went from 30% commitment to 70% commitment. Now this is what I see in elite clients. The people that move to a 3-day system, they get the harder people that may have been skeptical in the beginning, fully committed. Their prepays go through the roof. It's very common that, there are 4 or 5 financials. You get 4 or 5 prepays, or 5 financials, 4 prepays. I mean, we see this all the time. That automatically boosts your PVA. That automatically brings guests. That automatically becomes your most powerful new patient generator because it's a requirement. You don't have to work hard. They automatically show up, and then boom, your practice goes to the next level. So that's the first thing. The first thing I did was go from a 2-day to a 3-day. Next time on Wednesday, we're going to talk about the workshop and the close, and then after that, the re-exam. Those 3 things. I quit marketing after that. For the next 4 years, I practiced for almost 15 years. From the 11th year when I did that to the 15th year, I didn't have to work. I didn't even have to show up. Associates did a lot of that, and that was it. It became automatic because I learned how to give them the lifestyle mindset in those 3 steps, which we teach. First 2 steps we teach in Boot Camp 1. Third step we teach in Boot Camp 2. All right, you guys, hang in there for the next couple of videos. We're going to show you exactly why this will grow your practice and make it sustainable, profitable, and give you freedom so that you can fulfill your purpose without having to work. All right, you guys. See you then.